Welcome, one and all. I see many people in the chat saying that they must leave for they're not cuties, and I have news. I declare thee a cutie. So says I. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'll go, but I came anyway. Don't say that, Levi Tooker. Don't say that. This is a positive stream. If anybody says anything bad about themselves in the chat, I want you to respond with personal pan pizzas as per protocol. We won't allow this negative self-talk. Not on my stream. I simply won't allow it. You'll have to excuse, my throat is a little scratchy. I just ate some Beyond Meat hamburgers and I quite enjoyed them, but a little dry. No, I am not Tim Pool. So I shaved my head accidentally last week, so I have to wear a hat for a little while. That's life. We're going to be doing some drawing today, because I'm very behind on patron drawings, so need to really knuckle down on those. And I'm going to be drawing in Clip Studio Paint. That's the program I use, and I just get rid of this. There we go. Starting fresh. Empty canvas. This is kind of a dick move on my part to both draw patrons and like it feels to me almost like double dipping in terms of compensation, but it's, you know, I need to get it done and I had no other time today. Happy International Men's Day. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I'm doing quite well. Who keeps reminders on Photoshop? Well, this isn't Photoshop. It's Clip Studio Paint. So, hope that answers your question. This is a bit awkward because you won't be able to see the reference for what I'm drawing. You're only going to be able to see what I'm doing. But this person's shirt is like covered in what appears to be brown stains, like either dried blood or I don't know what's going on there. But now I have to draw a baseball hat, which longtime Slimeheads will know. My least favorite thing in this goddamn world of ours to draw. I don't know why the shape of a baseball hat confounds me so. It's something I've looked at quite a bit in my time upon this earth. You know? You would think I would have a grasp on them, but I don't. I've even worn such hats as these. Thanks for all you do. I started YouTubing this year and you're one of my greatest inspirations. Well, you know, I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned this to you. I try to keep it, you know, a little low key on my videos. But if you wanted, what you could try to do is you could send no more than one email to thoughtslimeeditor@gmail.com with the word eyeball somewhere in the subject line and pertinent details like your pronouns, and maybe you will find yourself trapped in the eyeball zone. Whatever that is. Could be anything. No. By the way, if you don't draw, you should know that about 90% of drawing is you know the line you want to make, but your hand won't make it. So that's that's why I'm struggling here. That was close. Okay, you know what? This is a sketch. It doesn't matter. This isn't the final drawing. It's fine. I can fix that later. That's future Matthew's problem. What do you call that thing at the top of a hat? What do you call that? The little bean at the top of a baseball hat. What do you call that? The button? Hat nipple. I like hat nipple better. My little shortcut to draw glasses is I just draw like a big rectangle and then divide it into sub-rectangles. Obviously only works if they're rectangular glasses, but what's next vids topic? Well, I was working on one thing and I got too frustrated with it, so I kind of this week threw something together, and it's an idea that came to me while I was out for a walk, and it's about just all the ways that the oligarchy has demonstrated continuously how they will let us die. Long live Botslime and long live Stalin? Stalin's already dead. I've already won. I've defeated Stalin in a living contest. You know what? I should read this email again just to make sure I'm not mixing anything. Drum with shorts and with red legs. With red legs? See, what I don't like about that is that means I have to draw an entire body. Because normally I draw people from like the shoulders up for these portraits, but yeah. That's a challenge. Rather dismaying. Not sure I'm a cutie, but I'm definitely gonna watch this. I already said everybody who's watching is a cutie. It's too late. Okay. Since it's gonna come up, I'm drawing on a Huon ProGraphic 13 tablet. People always ask that whenever I do a drawing stream. Are lefties inherently better at art or something? I think I'm evidence that that is not the case. Okay. Any thoughts on the Justice for Johnny crowd? I can't defend Amber, but the whole thing feels steeped in hypocrisy. I don't really know much about that situation. I know that essentially everybody shit on Johnny Depp, and then when it came out that Amber Heard was abusive to him too, and again, I could be completely off the mark here, people started saying like, oh, well, you know, obviously we treated him wrong. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, because obviously there can be mutual abuse in a relationship, and in cases of abuse there often is. So I don't think the fact that it has come out that she is abusive to him necessarily vindicates him. But again, I don't know much about the situation, and I kind of wouldn't want to speculate either about someone's marriage or, like, you know, how people should treat abuse victims. It's not really like in a lot of ways it's not our business, but I get also that like people made it their business when they weighed in originally. It's just like the perils of fame, you know? Okay, he's got kind of a lab coat look going on. Rake the mud. I mean, like, I'm no stranger to hot takes, but I neither know nor particularly care enough about this situation. Okay. We're going to get enough to convey the legs, but we're not going beyond that. I don't like the shape of this arm. I don't like what I've done with it. I'm trying to go for a casual pose, but I feel like it's reading as like a weak pose, you know? The hell is going on with my friggin' stylus right now? How do you decide on your canvas size for these? Literally in the least professional way. I just went with 1080p by... Am I using the wrong... No, I'm using my... Which one is my pen? You're not my pen. No. Oh my god. What have I done? There we go. That's the one I like. What was the question again? Sorry, someone asked me a question. I was in the middle of answering it, and Thought Slime, I love your art, and I really appreciate the picture you drew of me and the fact that you still haven't taken it down even after dropping Patreon like a year ago. So the secret there, is I very seldomly actually check, because I don't really care if people... Because the list of names scrolls for longer than I have space for drawings, so it doesn't really matter to me if people get their drawings there for longer than they've paid. It's like, whatever. I would prefer that to anyone paying and not getting their drawings, so I err on the side of caution. And I've only a couple times like gone through and pruned it, and the only people I take off the list are people that I can like find and confirm that they stopped their payment. So sometimes I won't be able to I won't be able to find the username of the person or find an email from them. So I just for the sake of caution, I leave it in. Is what that's about. Because again, I would rather. I'd rather someone get it that, didn't pay for it, than someone pay for it and not get it. Right, it was about canvas size. So when I started, I just drew in 1080p because that was all my PC could handle. And now I have a new PC, but the thing is, I do all of these assets the same for when I import them into the video. So if I started changing it now, I'd have to like go in and manually edit every single one. So they all have to be 1080p, which is not a great size. I feel like there's something real off today with my pen. I don't know, maybe it's the art rust maybe. This is just the rough sketch. You can see why these take me so long right away, right? Like I feel like sometimes I just get in and I just get them done. I can get like 10 done in a day, but then there are other times when it's it's like torture. It's like torture trying to do art. People are saying YouTube gave out? I don't understand, because people on YouTube are commenting right now. Right. Said he wants shorts. Did not specify a type of shorts, so I'm guessing it's for like maximum funniness. I'm gonna go gym shorts. This is all the leg he's getting. I'm sorry, I'm not sitting around here all day drawing legs. This is all the definition I'll give this hand in the sketch. No, that's gonna be a problem. Also, I don't think that arm is long enough. It's fine. It's artistic license. Right now, I'm just trying to think of a thing his hand could be doing. Yeah, my pen is acting the fool. That's way too big. Matthew, pay attention. That's the same size, Matthew. So these are the problems you don't have if you have your drawing at a reasonable size. You can kind of... There we go. That'll do. I don't switch between the two chats. I have a restream chat that just consolidates them for me. This is just the vibe I get. This expression, because his face is kind of turned away from me in the picture that I'm drawing from. But this is the vibe I get. Okay. Is this enough to move on? Possibly. What are we drawing? I'm drawing patrons, baby! Thank you, Lord Oculon Supreme Oogler. Ogler? Take my eyeballs? Isn't ogling specifically when you're like checking someone out sexually? Or is it just highly suggestive of that? But in a literal meaning, you could just be looking at somebody. I've never heard it used any other way. And Oculon obviously isn't checking people out sexually because there's just no analog between what he does and human emotion of any kind. Also, I don't know who that is. I don't know who or what Oculon is, and I don't know what people are referring to. How's ukulele practice going? It's going quite well. I've made so much more progress than I've ever made before. Like, I'll be able to play songs soon, which I'm very excited about. I've never successfully played a ukulele song. I've learned a bunch of chords, learned a couple strumming patterns. I'm realizing I probably should have done a warm-up sketch. Because this is not going how I might like it to go. That's the way of the artist, you know? Is you're always kind of disappointed in yourself. Like I say that like it's a joke, but it's kind of true. And I don't mean that to put myself down. Like, I actually think that's a good quality in an artist of any kind. Obviously, it's not a healthy quality, but it's good to want to improve your work, you know? Should do an entire stream possessed by the eyeballs. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what an eyeball is. No further questions at this time. Do I not have eyeballs? Again, I wouldn't be able to say. I don't know what that means. I am so, like, out of it right now, I'm realizing. I'm so, like, in another mindset. I don't know. I feel like I'm I don't know. I'm in a weird headspace. I'm in a very good mood though. Have been for a while now. I went through a pretty rough patch there a couple weeks ago, but feeling much better these days. No. Just trying to shorthand this ear a little bit, and there we go. That's more so what I was looking for. Who is it? It's a patron. Don't worry about it. This is the silent process that you don't see every week of me panicking and trying to draw patrons. I've mentioned it before, and now might be a good time to bring this up with a live audience so that I can hear your thoughts on it, for and against. But I'm strongly considering raising the amount of money required for me to draw a patron doodle. But obviously anyone who currently has a patron doodle would be grandfathered in, and I wouldn't expect anyone to pay more or anything like that. And you know, obviously we'll honor all of the ones that have been made so far. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, hoodwink anybody. And it's not even really because I need the money so much as it's because I'm receiving so many requests for these drawings that it's getting in the way of the videos. Like, it's taking time, an inordinate amount of time away from the video making process. And I don't think that's what people who donate necessarily want. So I'm thinking about raising it to $20 and then replacing the $10 tier for future donatees to something else. And I don't know what that would be, and that's part of the reason I haven't done it yet. But that's kind of my thinking on that. But I wouldn't, you know, again, just to reiterate, would not, if you're currently a $10 patron, obviously I'm not going to remove you or, you know, demand more money or something like that. Like, it's just wondering people's thoughts on this. It's something that I talk about with my wife quite a bit, and she is 100% convinced, and she's usually right about these things, that I should increase the price. And I'm hesitant to do it because I don't want to appear, you know, given that I'm already doing very well on Patreon, I don't want to appear greedy. Like, obviously I want to be greedy. I want the money. But I more so than anything, it's like, I just want to be able to focus on what I think is the thing that matters more to patrons, even the $10 patrons, is the videos, right? Like, that's what you're paying to support, in my view anyway. Because if you just wanted to buy a drawing, you could get a better drawing than I'm going to give you somewhere out there for $10. Like, go on Fiverr, you can get someone to draw something for you that's way better than I'm going to do for $10. So I would think, and I would hope, that people are donating for the purpose of the videos, and it's kind of distracting from what, you know, in my head, I'm trying to give them what they want, but I'm kind of doing it backwards, you know? Maybe replace the pics entirely with something else. That I will not do, because I do feel it is a very successful Patreon reward. Like, I think that's in no small part the reason I'm able to do this as for a living. Because I think people do like getting them. I just might have to reevaluate my pricing. Maybe you could get Folding Ideas to design another toy for the $10 tier. I don't think anyone would really mind bumping up the price for a drawing. Hard to say. Raise the price of the doodle tier significantly, then try something more scalable for the same price. Yeah, I don't, but like that, I'm kind of at a loss for what I might do, because I want to do something that something meaningful, and like the obvious answer is like a patron only stream. You know, take like a couple hours every week and do like a stream just for patrons at that level, and maybe release them later. Are you drawing me? No, I'm drawing a patron, Lance. Lance, hello. Everyone go to twitch.tv/thesurfstv, where you can see Lance of the Surfs doing surfly things. Dunking on reactionaries, watching RedTube videos, interpreting the news of the day with his own skewed perspective. This is kind of a wibbly wobbly box, but I'm actually comfortable with that. You know? $20 is cool for a doodle, but this is more than a doodle. I like to think of them as doodles because it takes the pressure off me a little bit. Like, obviously, I do work on them, despite what the shape of this box might lead you to believe. But I like to think of them as, you know, because like I think if I just did this, like this is what I think most people would consider a doodle, right? It's just a quick sketch, but like that's nothing. I'm not going to charge someone $10 for that. Like that is, you know, a bit much. In my opinion. You know, and like, I'm not saying, you know, like, look, any artist that does that, like, there are artists out there that they can, like, quickly sketch out something like that, and it is very good, and it is worth that amount of money, but, like, you know, I just, I don't think I'm at that level, so I wouldn't be comfortable just doing something like that. Like, one thing I would not want to do is compromise the quality of the doodles. God. You ever catch yourself and realize just how like up your own ass you are? Because that's the moment I'm having right now. Horror movie suggestion. What like something recent that you like? I really liked the movie Host. Not to be confused with The Host, either the Stephenie Meyer movie or the movie by Bong Joon-ho. The Bong Joon-ho movie is good, but it's not the movie I'm referring to. It's a movie that takes place in a Zoom meeting. And it, as hokey as that sounds, it's effectively done. And it takes advantage of that gimmick very well in ways that I liked quite a bit. So that would be, if you like found footage, that would be my recommendation. And if you don't, Maniac Cop 2. Don't worry about not having seen the first Maniac Cop, because the Maniac Cop rap will get you up to date. Does this color palette look warped to anyone else? What do you mean? It's black and white. You're probably seeing on my screen, so it's a blue light filter on my screen. Maybe I should turn that off for the stream's sake. But also, I don't remember how. So I might just leave it. Sorry. Whoa, no, that was supposed to be an erase, not a further draw. But yeah, so it seems like most of the people in the chat agree with my wife. The saddest moment in every husband's life, when their Twitch and YouTube chat take their website. It's a story as old as time. So yeah, I need to think of another thing to do for the $10 tier. I don't know. I'm doing some sloppy little hands over here. I think... What the fuck are you doing, Matthew? I think everyone struggles with hands. Hands are universally the... No, I was right the first time. Hands are universally the thing everybody hates drawing, I think. Or if you're like a complete nerd, you love drawing them because you can do it real well and you want to show off. Bring back the sweat? Never. Some creators offer a message to read as a reward. I feel like that merely that recreates the issue in my mind, because then I would be writing a custom message for every person. And I think the goal should be to have to do less bespoke rewards so that I can focus on, work. Not to say this isn't work, but you know what I mean. The videos. All right. I'm not at all happy with this drawing, but here's a little adult tip for everybody. Oftentimes, you won't feel like your work is good enough. And what you've got to do is just force yourself to keep going anyway. If you don't, then you'll never get anything done. Lord Akulon plush. This is always why when people are like, "Oh, I want to make YouTube videos, but I don't know if I'm going to be good at it." I always just tell people, like, what does it matter? like really, what does it matter if you put up a video and it's not good? Who is hurt by this? That's my view of it anyway. Okay. What is Lord Oculon? I have no idea. People keep saying it to me. It could be anything. How does this look? I don't like it. It's too gray. Read patrons' messages as a reward? Oh, that could work. That could work. Make your eraser harder so it doesn't create similar lines to your brush. What? Why? Your video injured me, I'm suing? Okay. You can find my lawyer at www.reallawyer.com. What if patrons could vote on an eyeball zone submission? See, then that would require a certain amount of coordination. I don't know. And also, I don't know if people would really be excited about doing that, because I think, and that's also not really fair to the people being eyeballed. I don't know about that. Hates me, real lawyer, please give money. Well, you know, as when you win the case, not before. I'm not paying you on contingency. So this anti-aliasing is a visual glitch. I know that, like, there's this pixel here, okay? We'll get rid of that. I know it seems like there's anti-aliasing. I promise you, it is merely a visual glitch of Clip Studio Paint. Or not in this case right here, but you feel me. Eyeballs are like an extension of your taste. It's part of your value as a content creator. And glad you're against democratizing it, to be honest. Well, when you put it that way, it makes me sound like a big hypocrite. But the way I see it is it's, you know, I don't like to think of the eyeball zone as a reward for people. Actually, he should not have red shorts if he's meant to have red legs. For whatever reason. Let's give him light green shorts. I don't like to think of it as a reward. I don't like to think of it as something I'm doing, you know, for people. I like to, or rather, I don't like to think of it as something that I'm like giving people, you know? I like to think of it as mutual aid. And the idea of like having people vote, I mean, at that point, why wouldn't I just have like a newsletter where I outlined a bunch of creators, you know? Like, it just feels like if I'm going to do that, it's unfair that, I don't know, because they're like, I don't know. I don't know if I can really explain why I find the idea to be kind of against the concept. So this is evidently supposed to be blood on his shirt. So in the shirt, it's dried and brown, but I don't know how well that's going to read in the drawing. Again, these anti-aliases, I promise you, this is a visual artifacting glitch. There's no anti-aliasing going on here. Having people vote might lead to eyeballs on philosophy duper Danielson. Well, no, I would obviously curate who they could vote for. But I'm worried this will just look like shit stains. No, that reads as blood, I think. That's red enough. It's a good mix of red and brown in a way that I think gets the idea across. Let's also go ahead and lock the transparency. Barbecue sauce is barbecue blood, so that counts. What is happening right now in chat? Is someone being a real knucklehead? Because if they are, ooh, why I oughta. Come here, you. Okay. Wow. YouTube, come on. Just show me the newest messages. YouTube, I don't need to see the messages pop up in order. Wow, this is unbelievable. YouTube, get your shit together. Oh my god. It's okay if Lord Ocula and whoever that is gets to choose who they associate themselves with or throw eyeballs at. Yeah, of course it is. I believe that, and I don't know what you mean. Seaboy and Doctrined Marxist are being shitty. Okay. I'm not seeing these people. Well... and yeah, there's one more. They're timed out. I've taken care of this. Usually Twitch chat is worse than YouTube chat. YouTube chat is just bigger, so it tends to attract more people in general. And with that, more odds of someone being a ding-dong. Greetings, Comrade Slime. Wanted to know if you had any ideas for future Know Your Fash videos. I wouldn't mind seeing you talk about Wexit or Yellow Vesters. So I do have many ideas, and both of those will obviously at some point probably get their own episodes. But before I do either, unfortunately, I have to do another episode on the Proud Boys, which was going to be this week's video, but I got too frustrated researching it. I was like so I hesitate to use this terminology because I don't know if I should, but I just did not have the spoons. Not because I was in a bad place or anything or had no energy, but like I just could not concentrate on anything this week. It's been brutal. It's like even now, like I'm trying to draw this and I keep like losing my train of thought. Find the direction that Angie speaks and Peter Coffin in going to be kind of concerning. They're kind of flirting with grifters like Crystal Ball, TERFs, and other populists. What do you think? Yeah, I would go beyond that, and I'd say they're actively playing cover for a lot of those groups now. They're like palling around with some real reactionary elements. Like everybody's favorite, Caleb Maupin. You know what? The shirt is starting to look like a cow. Starting to look like cowhide. Which probably isn't what he had in mind, but it'll work. Abolish the knuckleheads. Anti-knucklehead action. You know, if I ever had a t-shirt, and maybe I will at some point, I want to get a shirt that is the Antifa logo, but instead of saying anti-fascist action, it would say anti-ding-dong action. Although I say that, I feel like I don't use the word ding-dong as much. I didn't want to run it into the ground. For a while there, it was every second word in a video. Okay. Did I just put that there? I did. All right. Let's get this bad boy saved. For the first time, Dancing with fire. This person does not give a pseudonym, so I'm going to go ahead and just refer to them by the name there. Hopefully that's fine. Whoa, 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 whoa. Christina Kane, thank you for the 5 great British pounds sterling. Peter Coffin thing makes me sad. It makes me sad too. I used to be that person's friend. Like, I've done work with them. Angie too. And I don't know. Just shitty direction that they went down. So, no, only one T. For those curious, I save each file twice because I have one version that is the like clean file if I ever need it again to like change someone's name or something, and another one that is the one I put in the actual videos. Love your stuff, Slime. Keep up the excellent work. Thank you very much. I'll do my best to do as you suggest. That text seems too large. Let's go ahead and make that 12. Not 1200, but merely 12. There we go, that feels better. One down! That only took 47 minutes. I should mention, they don't always take this long. It's a function of me speaking and trying to be entertaining while drawing that they take a bit longer, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. I've been looking forward to drawing this one. This person wants me to draw a ghost slam dunking a basketball. So I'm in for that. Draw with both hands, double the speed. Now you're thinking. Close enough. This is only a sketch. It doesn't matter. I don't have to get a fucking perfect circle. Just relax. Do I have a playlist or is it Spotify? It's Pretzel. It's an app that you can use that is lets you have music streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Hey Slimy Boy, I love your videos. Take some of my Mexican manis. You're the best. No, actually, you're the best. Actually, don't spread misinformation that I'm the best when actually it's you. Okay, this ghost obviously needs a cuter tail than I've given it. No. Just stop it. There we go. That's more what I'm looking for. Maybe have that going down. Okay, so I'm just trying to think how you look when you're dunking a basketball. You'd have it up like this. I feel like one arm is cooler than two arms. Once again, also, this ghost is wearing a baseball hat. But I gotta tell you, this time... Oh, the guy in the GIF using the pose captured in... Okay, so I don't get to choose my own pose. My mistake. My mistake. Almost drew it bad. He has a very specific pose that he wants. Also, here's a little trick. Remember earlier I was talking about how annoying it is to draw hands? This is called the house method. This is how you can get a hand real quick, right? So you draw a little house with one side being longer than the other, right? And then you just kind of go boop, boop, boop. There you go. You got yourself a little hand. Just curve them at the top there. Have like a thumb there. You're done. Am I a cutie? Just checking. Obviously you are, Bummer Fox. I've kicked out all the non-cuties. I wouldn't let them be here. It's cuties only. This PNG is really small that this person wants me to emulate. What are they doing with their thumb? That is not a natural pose of the thumb. Okay. By the way, if you think the MLs are out in force tonight, they're going to be mad at me after tomorrow's video. Let me tell you, they're not going to like that one little bit. Because in the video I go over my objection to the, in my view, the Leninist position, as I understand it, vis-a-vis states, which to me is a complete contradiction. Their view being that, like, you use the state to take power and then the organs of the state wither away until you're left with communism, right? That's the line they take. And here's what I don't understand about that, and here's what I've never understood about that, is if that's the case, right? If you need to use state power to get in control because the state is the only thing that can produce the material conditions of statelessness, right? Then it sounds to me like what you're arguing is the state has superior organizational skills, right? That's the purpose of it. So then why would you get rid of it? It's like that's what I've never understood. It's it seems to be like saying like, oh, yeah, no, like we'll get rid of the state, but you know, obviously since it's superior, we need it for now. Well, if it's superior, why do you want to get rid of it? Like I don't understand. Oh my god, hands. Without the state, how do you face capitalist threats? A serious question. Without the state, there can be no capitalism. So but to give a non-pithy answer, I think what you mean is outside capitalist threats. And to that, I would say the exact same way, because you would just fight them with your military, the same way that, you know, like, it's people who ask that question, no offense, I feel like don't quite understand what anarchists mean by the state. Because it doesn't mean just like any form of organization. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why are you this? Hold on. Where did Pen go? Pen? Be Pen. Pen, why are you up there? Pen moved. Angry Uwu. Vietnam won against the capitalist force. Granted, they had a state. They did, but like, there's nothing stopping a stateless society from using the same tactics, right? Like, I guess the question I would offer in return is like, what do you feel prevents a stateless society from defending itself? Because from my point of view, it has all of the same tools, you know? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but that's, you know, I genuinely don't understand their position on that. And I've never heard a satisfactory answer. Okay, I thought this ghost had sunglasses. He doesn't. He just has little hole eyes. Is that the hamburger helper hand? Essentially, yes. A lot of cartoon characters have gloved hands because of racism. Essentially, Mickey Mouse, the first Mickey Mouse cartoon was heavily inspired by Al Jolson's The Jazz Singer, which was a film where Al Jolson wore blackface, and part of being in blackface was he wore these white gloves, which have a tradition in minstrel shows. And that became the shorthand for cartoon hands for a while. Fun fact that is actually quite depressing. While the mortals aren't looking, good job keeping up the facade that I'm not real, from definitely not Lord Oculon. This Oculon meme, I have no idea what it means. It's pretty funny that you've got that username though. Excellent work. This is like a bunch of really challenging shapes. I gotta be honest. Okay.
Wait, is this for me?
Not a fan of the three finger. See, again, I'm drawing a character that they've already set up, so I can't. Just trying to think how we. Dang it. Okay. I thought gloves were just easier to draw scene to scene. I mean, not really. Why would they be? A glove is just a white hand if you're drawing it, you know? The way this arm connects makes no sense to me, but I'm just gonna go with it. Are you gonna animate this? No. I don't know animation at all. I mean, I don't really know drawing either. That doesn't stop me. Okay, let's start this afresh. I'll teach you. Just kidding, I don't know either. I'm starting out. I wouldn't really want to anyway. Although I do have an idea for an animated skit I'm going to do at some point, but I'm just going to do it like the same way I did the old King Cuck things, like a slideshow type of deal. And I'll probably put it on the Mega Slime Entertainment Zone. Regardless of your opinion on DPRK, its poverty is objectively the result of US sanctions. I mean, yes. Agreed. It's mostly US sanctions, and it's certainly the United States sanctions are designed for that purpose. I would argue that there is a certain amount of mismanagement as well. But it's obviously not the major factor. I'm being so precious today with these drawings. You're using Critter, right? No, this is Clip Studio. Which can also do animation, but when I say I don't know how to do animation, I don't mean like I don't know the software, although I don't. It's more so I don't know the actual like technique of animation, you know? I am not having a good drawing day, let me tell you. Sorry, TS, I can't watch your stream. I'm legally not allowed to be cute. Then being cute, as you are doing, is illegalist praxis. Good job. I don't know. I don't get it if someone has a Pokemon avatar and they're like, oh, I'm not cute. You're fucking Pokemon. Universally cute creatures, with the noted exception of the dastard, ugly rat Pikachu, who everyone hates. Just kidding. I like Pikachu. He's fine. I have no antipathy towards Pikachu. Let's not get rumors started. Detective Pikachu's a cop, though. Sorry, I thought for a second my wife was coming in the room and that startled me. Oh my god, pen? Relax. Gloves don't have nails. Freddy Krueger's gloves do. If you're interested in doing an animation collaboration with someone, I do some animation. It's not really, like, I don't really like asking people to work on my videos. Even if I'm paying them, it's just like, I produce them very quickly and it's hard to get, you know, like something done with a quick turnaround. By which I mean, like, it's hard for me to even know what I need. I'm in some trouble here. Married? You look 24? I'm 35 years old. Born the same year that Super Mario Bros. Was released. A Thought Slime game one day? I mean, what would such a game even look like? Dating sim? I shouldn't say shit like that because people will get weird. YouTube full-time, I'm assuming? I am indeed on YouTube full-time. Well, strictly speaking, much more than full-time, but like, I gotta struggle to say this the way that I won't get mocked for it. Mario, but the enemies are just Caleb Maupin. My natural instinct is to say Mario, but Chad always gets upset when I do that. Just how I say that word. That proper noun. I like those thickies. There we go. Yeah, my pen's doing that thing again. Anyone know what causes this? Why does this happen? It's so weird. It's doing it again. See, look. Why does that happen? Ink's too wet. He says it like, "It's a me, Mario." I was taken away by the Canadian pronunciation of bagel than anything else. Pasta I get, but saying bagel is something else. That is not a Canadian thing. That is not a thing Canadians do. Anyone who told you that is just someone who says the word bagel weird and wanted to cover for it. The only Canadian I know of that says that word that way is Northern Lion. And I don't know where he gets this stuff. But the word that I find we Canadians say very differently, classically about is but I say about, not about. But the word that we do say very differently, and I always catch myself saying it like this, is car. That's how Americans say it, car. Canadians say car. Car. A boot thing is like there's some places in Ontario where they talk like that, but it's not all of Canada. Same way with like calling people hosers. That's a very like Northern Ontario thing. And A as well. I have an aunt that says A lot, and she doesn't do it like Americans make fun of Canadians for doing. Like the way they do it is they just have it like as a punctuation, like "How's it going, eh?" She uses it to mean like "Say that again" or "Excuse me." She goes like "Eh?" But other than that, I don't know anyone that actually uses that in common parlance. Not that it like bothers me that the stereotypes are incorrect, because I feel like if that's the stereotype, like we're getting off a lot easier than we probably deserve, in my opinion, considering the mean ass stereotypes we have for Americans. I think if they're just like, yeah, well, you say about funny, I can live with that. I think the main stereotype that like people have of Americans in Canada is that their food is that they're rude, which I don't think is accurate, and B that their food is disgusting. Which our food isn't that different, and we're the country that invented poutine, so I don't think we have a leg to stand on in that particular department. And then there are other stereotypes of Americans that are just like objective facts, like that Americans like guns. Like, yeah, you do. Not all of Americans, but it's much more of a thing in America than in Canada. Americans are all overweight. I mean, not much more than Canadians. Like, that might be a stereotype in like Europe. I don't know if Canadians really have a leg to stand on there. Poutine. I deliberately said poutine because I'm told that's the correct way to say it. The Quebecois way to say it. Like you, in my day-to-day I say poutine, but I thought that people would have a problem with me saying that. I can't believe this simple drawing has taken so much time. This is fucking ridiculous. This is not indicative of the time that I normally spend on these drawings. I do spend a fair bit of time on them. Normally for something as simple as this, I would have it done pretty quick. Again, this pose looks really weird. It's the pose that he's making. The only bit of artistic license I've taken with it is the basketball being him holding the basketball like this. Just because the way he's actually doing it, it's like it's rolling off his hand on the knuckle, and it just looks really weird. Yeah, those are the stereotypes of Canada, as I understand it. Also, that we're very polite. And we say sorry a lot. Sorry. Sorry. Which is true, we do. I think that like really trips up Americans because when we're saying that, it doesn't necessarily mean I apologize. It just means I've noticed the thing you want me to notice. Oh, we made eye contact. Sorry. There's actually legal precedent in Canada that an apology cannot be taken as an admission of guilt because we apologize so much. Which is, you know, because like in the States, if you said sorry, that could be used against you in court. Like they could say like, oh, you apologize for doing it, so obviously you're at fault. No. Oh, is Ghost Dunk here? Piotr? So yes, sorry, that was a copy and paste from a video I was working on earlier where I had a list of books, and one of them was... Well, actually, 3 of them on the list were by Piotr Kropotkin. Okay, this time we're drawing Fursona, little bird lady. Feather Sona, I guess? Is that what would you call bird furries? Bird Sona. Okay, fine. That also works. It's like a weird techno bird. Like a Psy bird. At least that's what it looks like to me. She gives off a cyborg vibe. I also like, one of the things that I worry about, a lot of times people will send me another artist's work and as a reference, and I'm always like, I gotta be careful not to just plagiarize them. Like put enough of my own spin on the drawing so that it's, you know, not just a rip-off of someone else. You might know this person? Maybe. It's an avian Sona. Is it a crow? I'm not sure. It's like it's wearing a mask. There's a lot going on with this bird Sona. Bird furries are called based. All furries are based, I thought. Well, not all, obviously. There are some reactionary furries out there, I guess. How weird is your day if you're a reactionary furry? Why am I having an easier time with this? Full of complicated shapes than I was with the little ghost. What are reactionary furries doing? Like glomping, but hatefully. Would be my understanding. I don't really know. I'm not very steeped in furry culture. Okay. It's also hard to tell from one drawing what some of this is meant to convey. Shape-wise, but I'm hoping I'm understanding. What is glomp? Is that a kink? It's like when you run up on someone and you hug them from behind. Glomping but hatefully is going to plague me for the next 72 years. Why? So the bird has breasts. That not natural, in my opinion. Breasts are the domain of mammals, but it's your persona. You do you. Just feels like, as a mammal, I'm really upset about it as a mammal because it's like the one thing we got. Birds can fly. They don't need tits. I mean, a tit is a bird, but you get, I mean, it's doing it again. Birds have breasts, to be sure. Chickens, robins, both of these birds known for breasts. My videos are radical in more ways than one. You mean because I skateboard? I'd rather see a bird with breasts than that elephant breast picture. But elephants have breasts in real life. We got live births. Some non-mammals have that too. There's some snakes that give live birth. Try turning your stabilization down a tiny amount from 35 to around 20. But like, it doesn't, no matter what the stabilization's at, is the thing. Sharks give live birth? Yeah, exactly. Although I don't know if sharks technically count as alive. Okay. This was so much more fun to draw than the previous two for some reason. Even though it was just a guy and a ghost, two things I would normally love to draw. I don't know why I got this one. This one came to me a lot more easily. I think it's because this character has such distinctive shapes. I'm glad we're doing this tonight, chat, because This way I can put these people's drawings in the video for tomorrow. They don't have to wait longer. Just a nice feeling to be able to do that. My snakes were live birth? There you go. I was reading, you know, that old meme about the person who finds a ferret, and they have the found poster, and they're like some kind of cat snake, and it just hit me right. You know, that is what a ferret is. It's a cat snake. Of course it is. Yo, also, speaking of ferrets, do you ever see how small weasels are? I always thought weasels were like the size of ferrets. No, they're tiny. Weasels be small. Like, I guess I kind of always thought that a ferret was a domestic weasel, you know? Like, I just had that association in my head. Thinking of mongoose? Wolverines or weasels? No, don't make shit up. I refuse to believe that. It's got like a... kind of messy hair. Wolverines aren't weasels, they're Weapon X. I should know, I'm Canadian. Mustelids? Well, how come if they're mustelids they don't taste like mustard? Checkmate, atheists. This is something I picked up from watching a lot of Drawfee, and I don't know why it never occurred to me. To simply overshoot your lines like this, and then erase the excess, so you can get a smoother line. Like, I guess I just thought that every artist in the world had naturally perfected the ability to stop their drawing on the exact pixel that they wanted. Imagine an X-Men named Mongoose. I mean, that would be a great counter to any snake-themed X-Men, you know? Which I assume there must be some. I'm gonna say the Cobra Society, but that's DC. Or are they just called the Snake Society? It's been a while. There's like a snake group that's like a discount League of Shadows. League of Assassins, rather. League of Shadows is a cooler name. Serpent Society, thank you. Okay. Marvel has the Serpent Society? It's Cobra with a K. See, you see why I'm getting them confused. As a comics nerd, but also an anarchist, but also a Canadian, have any thoughts on Captain Canuck? I'm not familiar with Captain Canuck, but so that you didn't waste your money, allow me to once again another tale of Jeff Sterling, the eccentric billionaire who owned the only television station in my hometown. He was known, longtime streamheads will know, that he would interrupt the broadcasting to just show up on TV and talk about whatever was on his mind that day, which was usually aliens, superheroes, Atlantis, or Elvis. Those were his four interests. And he had a character in his superhero universe that he published in the magazine that everybody had to buy because it was also the TV guide, called the Newfoundland Herald. And he published a series of comics in that that were the works of his son, whose name escapes me. But in those, there was a character named Captain Canada. And he also financed a series of shorts where he paid the janitor at the TV station to dress up as Captain Canada and ride around and do a bunch of action shots. And he would air those 4 decades. These were on TV just randomly. It's the weirdest shit. Shut up, this can't be real. This is in fact real. He was just a weird old man with new agey ideas who lived in Bermuda so he didn't have to pay taxes. And occasionally he'd just call into the network and be like, all right, turn off the television shows. I've got something on my mind that I want to get through. It was great. And then he'd just come on and talk about Bigfoot or whatever. It was the best. Jeff Sterling? Indeed it is Jeff Sterling. Pre-internet vlogger. Yeah, I guess in a certain way. But he set up a bunch of like weird rules and shit for his media empire to follow. Like, for example, for whatever reason, on NTV, his television station, occasionally, if they can't fill a commercial space, they'll just play a bit of a music video. And in the month where Elvis died, they only play Elvis music videos because he loved Elvis. And I assume believed that Elvis was not dead. I have to assume that because he was really into like the paranormal and stuff. In like a Dan Aykroyd-y kind of way. You know? I just want to know if I can make Thought Slam a scarf. I don't have any way of receiving gifts at the moment. It's something I might work on in the future. Thank you though. And the thing is, like, I would start a P.O. box, but my wife is reasonably, I think, afraid that if I did that, then some conservative weirdo or some fash ding-dong is going to send me some sort of biological agent. This is just gonna go behind the horns and never be heard of again. Because I don't know what it's meant to be. A lot of people have the secretly alive conspiracy theory. Yeah, JFK Jr. being the most relevant example right now. Where do I want this to look like? Ah, yes. Yeah, it sucks. Like, a lot of people have made me some cool stuff, but they always make it before asking how to get it to me. And then I have to break the news, like, I don't know what you're going to do about that. Then there's also the people who, if I mention wanting anything in a video, which I'm just never going to do again, people will try and send it to me. Be like, oh, I have one. Here, let me send it to you. It's like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm paid for these videos. You don't have to send me stuff. You don't have to get me free stuff just because I want it. Paid by the CIA, I mean. You know what? Found the comic making proof. Sterling supervised the creation of the graphic novel Atlantis, featuring superheroes Captain Atlantis, Captain Newfoundland, and Captain Canada. So this is, you have to get deep into the Sterling lore to understand this, but the reason Captain Atlantis is Captain Newfoundland is, of course, because when Atlantis sunk below the waves, only the highest tip of it remained above the ocean floor, and that, of course, is Newfoundland. Like, I'm laughing at this guy as if he doesn't live basically the perfect life. Not from like an ethical standpoint. Obviously, he was like a billionaire, but he had something figured out, you know? Just do a thought slime video on this guy. It would take quite a long time. I have a lot of feelings on the subject. And I think it's like, I've basically everything I've told you so far, that's the stuff you got to know about this guy. Really? No. 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 We're getting somewhere though. Boy, I don't know how I feel about this color palette these days. Do you think Adam Smith would hate capitalism and conservatives today? After all, he was very critical of unregulated capitalism and believed in restricted markets. Absolutely, he would. Like he would certainly at least hate what is done in his name. There we go. It's closer to what this is meant to be. These colors end up so much browner than they look in the really more of a gray, bluish gray I'm looking for. Like this, but desaturate that bad boy. I'm gonna make it so desaturated. Not that desaturated. Oh, that doesn't show up on the screen cap. That's weird, because I guess the color picker shows up in a separate window. That's weird that it doesn't capture that. That's annoying, actually. That's closer. We're getting somewhere. Boop, ba-doop, ba-doop. Oh no! Oh no! I did all of this on the line work layer! No! Damn you! Okay. This happens. Bob all along is having a conflict about coming out to their wife, about, I believe, being non-binary. Do you have any advice? It's tough. I would say maybe feel her out about the subject beforehand, so you have some idea of how she's going to react. But, you know, at the end of the day, you gotta be honest with her, you gotta be honest with yourself, and if she reacts badly to that, that's not in your control. But I don't envy you having to have that conversation. It sounds very nerve-wracking. Okay, all right. That is the line layer. Locked. Okay. We'll get this. We'll get this back on track. Or purpley. No. Reader. There you go. Hello. Hello, Mr. Shackfield. That's my impression of Fran Drescher, in case anyone was curious about that. Cringe? What's cringe about that? How dare you? You don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know what I've been through. Oh, yeah. Gotta know, what would your Sona be? I don't think that's for me to decide. Probably a little pig. I like pigs. Perhaps a squirrel? Actually, I like that better. Let's clean up some of these jaggies. Pro tip, everyone is cringe. Yeah. Except me, I'm cool. Sewer rat. I could be a rat, I could see that. Either sewer or street. Or pizza. Again, the artifacting, I promise you, will not be in the final piece. That is simply a scaling issue in Clip Studio's preview. Do not fret, my pets. Pizza Rat is definitely an aesthetic. Pizza Rat is goals. More contrast? Unfortunately, this isn't my character, so I don't get to pick the colors, right? I can kind of put my own spin on it, but I'm not gonna like go against what they have. Just to, you know, because I feel like it should have more contrast. Does Toronto have a famous donut stealing raccoon? What? I feel like you must know something I don't, because if that's just an assumption you had about Toronto, that's very strange. Well, I just assumed you had some sort of donut stealing raccoon. I'm sorry, was I mistaken? I thought you had a donut stealing raccoon. Do I have a favorite animated show? Jeez. Now there's a question and a half. I mean, I could cop out on this and just say like The Simpsons seasons 2 to 8. But I don't know. Samurai Jack I quite like. Adventure Time. Over the Garden Wall. These shows as these. Batman the Animated Series. and like the whole DCEU really, if I'm being honest. I could go on with like a lot of superhero shows to be perfectly clear, because also like Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh no, I hit the wrong button. I hit a bad button. Thoughts on the new Harley Quinn cartoon? I like it. It's the first time Harley Quinn has ever been interesting to me as a character. I much like this new spin on Harley Quinn, where she is in recovery from the abuse of the Joker. I find that to be much more interesting than just, you know, what she was before. As a Canadian, what's your opinion on Reboot? I fucking love Reboot. Big Reboot head. Still waiting to find out what happened after season 4. Megabyte takes control of the command center, and that's it. Series over. I want to know. Are you waiting for the reboot? Well, that's just the thing. The thing. All right. So now we have to talk about this. I have to address this. There already was a reboot. The thing was, it was like a Power Rangers ripoff. Like, it's real fucking weird. Basically, what happened was the company that owns the right to Reboot, they had like some executive, who had this idea for a television show that was basically like children going into the internet and becoming superheroes. And he tried it on this other network and it didn't work. So then he comes to Mainframe Entertainment, the division of, which is now a division of Rainmaker, and they owned Reboot, and it's their biggest property that they own themselves. Not that they worked on, obviously, but they. So he says, okay, well, we'll slap like Reboot characters on this, and we'll make this into Reboot, and that way, you know, we'll get people to see this shitty show he wanted to make. And so it's a live action television show where occasionally characters will go into Mainframe, which looks nothing like Mainframe from Reboot. And they had like one episode where like Bob and Enzo and Dot show up. And I think like Megabyte and Hexadecimal are in it. But there was an episode, because they got a lot of flack for this from Reboot fans. And I think quite rightly. It is a pretty cynical cash grab. Like who cares? It's a fucking cartoon. Like, you know, at the end of the day, it's fine. But you know, obviously people were upset by that because they wanted, you know, more of the show that they like. And so their reaction to this was to throw in a character who was a big fan of Reboot within the world of Reboot and was waiting for the computer that held Mainframe in it to turn on so that he could, I don't know what, but he was portrayed as like a big man baby nerd, and this was them like making fun of how everybody was upset that they basically bought a property and turned it into something that nobody wanted for no one. And I don't know, it's just bizarre. It's really disappointing. And I would like to see a proper season 5. I would just like to see the show end once without a cliffhanger. You know? Or at least tell me what was going to happen. Just tell me what you were going to do. That's all I want. Same way, Duckman. What's going to happen after when Duckman ended on a cliffhanger? I don't really give a shit about Duckman, but I must know. Tony J as Megabyte is my favorite voice casting in anything. Tony J as Megabyte is incredible. He was good in other things, but Megabyte is just such a good villain. There's the for Americans, you missed out on most of the good Reboot, because Reboot was fine in seasons 1 and early 2. It was around the midpoint of season 2 when it got really good, because they were canceled on ABC, and it was just the Canadian channel YTV that was funding them at that point. So basically, they didn't have to follow American standards and practices anymore, and it became more of an less of an episodic kids show and more of like a serial teen drama that took the world not seriously. Like, it was still funny, but it like characters grew and changed, and there was arc. There was an overlining story, you know, yeah, it was great. It was really good for what it was, and I love it. Do I remember Cyber 6? Cyber 6 was fucking great. So this is a purely Canadian thing. It was based on a Brazilian comic book, but it followed the adventures of a superheroine named Cyber 6 and her sidekick, who was also her brother, who was also a panther, Data 7. By day, she pretended to be a male teacher named Adrian, who was best friends with the man that Cyber 6 was in love with, named Lucas. And it was beautifully animated. Like, every episode took like $1 million to animate, and it showed. But it was just like this weird, like, hypersexualized franchise to make into like a children's adventure cartoon. Because the premise of the original comic is that she's fighting this guy named Von Trieg or Von Trier or something like that. But he's a Nazi scientist who has figured out a way to make himself immortal by cloning new bodies for himself and then transferring his mind into those bodies. And he's got this little sidekick son named Jose, who is one of those clones and who doesn't know that his future is to have his brain removed and replaced with his father's brain. Which is like super dark. She dresses in this like head to toe leather outfit too. It's like clearly meant to evoke some kind of like sex suit, but Von Richter. That's right, it was Von Richter. But it, you know, and then you take that and like the gender bending aspect, and like none of that were they willing to explore in the cartoon. This was a kids' TV show? It was, but they had to file all that stuff off, right? So like they never explicitly said that Von Richter was a Nazi in the cartoon, but they kind of hinted at it a lot, you know. And he wore like khakis head to toe, but he didn't have a German accent or anything. Would you ever do a video on all of these shows? You remember more than any of us ever here. I feel like this is my curse, is that I watched so much television as a young child that I remember these shows. Like, I remember such pop culture ephemera. Like, I know more about Big Bad Beetleborgs than I know about almost anything else. I would seriously recommend the Infinity Train series if you want a good animated serial. I've heard it's quite good. I've heard Infinity Train is pretty good. But yeah, no, this is my curse. My curse is that I can't remember almost anything except like the shitty cartoons that I watched as a kid. No, Cyber 6 wasn't a shitty cartoon. But there, you know, I do remember everything. Like it's a blessing and a curse. Mostly a curse, because who cares? Does anyone remember Rock and Rule? So Rock and Rule is the only feature-length Canadian animated movie. It's made by a company called Nelvana, and it stars Iggy Pop as a villain, who in one scene, and it's been a long time since I've watched Rock and Roll, but he has a scene where he does a line of cocaine that is like this long, and he just balances it on his finger and then puts it up his nose. Your thoughts, Slime? Thanks for recommending Moonpunk a while ago. Playing my first game of that with my partners next week. Much of the reason that I recommended Moonpunk, to be honest, was to get to say Moonpunk. Cyber 6 is gay Spawn? Kind of. But it's not like edgy, though, is the thing. Like Spawn I think of as like super, super edgy, 90s, and extreme. But like at the end of the day, Cyber 6 was about kindness. Like there were several episodes where she was fighting monsters, and rather than defeating them, she convinces them to become good. And but what are the plot devices in the show is that all of Von Richter's monsters require a drug that he manufactures called sustenance that is in most cases in the back of their neck. So Cyber 6 has to run around and like kill his like zombie minions to steal the vials of sustenance out of their neck, or else she'll die. But so these monsters are doomed if they betray Von Richter. And so in convincing them to become good, she's convincing them essentially to commit suicide. She was more or less a vampire in the comic? Yeah, but a vampire who only fed on monsters. Cyber 6 fucking rules. Talk about cartoons that ended on a cliffhanger. Because the last episode of Cyber 6, she's dead. And presumably if a season 2 would have come around, you would have found out, oh no, she survived it. But as it stands, no, she loses. Cyber 6 loses. And Von Richter, I guess, is just going to take over the world now. Thought Slime really wish you'd go on the surfs bi-weekly at least. I mean, I go on the surfs quite often. I'm sure you can ethically source blood. Again, not blood. She drinks the glowing green ooze called sustenance. And you know I love glowing green ooze. Wasn't the Surfs the guy who made fun of Jason Unruh and claimed he read Das Kapital? Why is it a difficult thing to believe that they would have read Das Kapital? Or do you mean they made fun of Jason Unruh for claiming to have read it, when Jason Unruh has a pretty flimsy understanding of basic concepts? I remember the debate between Jason Unruh and Mook, and right away, like immediately, it becomes a debate about the distinction between socialism and communism and whether or not that relates to lower phase communism and higher phase communism. And Mook is of the position that it doesn't. There's Marx does not make a distinction between socialism and communism. Unruh is of the opinion that Marx did make a distinction. And so Mook asked him, well, could you point me to something Marx said that gives that impression? And Unruh just logged off in a huff. He said, I knew this was a bad idea. You're arguing in bad faith. And he's like, no, just, can you give me an example of I'm giving you quotations that say he didn't believe this. Like, can you give me an example that refutes that? And he couldn't. And rather than just say like, hey, fuck you, he just like left in a huff and told him like, I knew this was a bad mistake. I knew that you were in bad faith. It's pathetic. And it was like 5 minutes in, like Unbelievable. That's suspicious when anyone claims they read it. I feel like a lot of people have read it. I will be honest, I haven't read it. And I'm probably not going to. But lots of people read it. You probably weren't looking at Twitch. This is Ghost Dunk. Thank you. I was watching the whole time. Haha. Yeah, sorry that... I don't know if that turned out exactly as I might have wanted it to, but I'm just having a bad art day. Thank you for your patronage. Higher phase communism is when the government legalizes drugs. I want to get there. Most people have probably read the Cliff's Notes. Lance sent me a video of Caleb Maupin destroying bread by reading a passage from the Communist Manifesto where Karl Marx and Engels outline, I believe it's 12 points for what needs to be done. And he claims that these 12 points are Marx's definition of socialism, which he does not. And what's really funny about it is that in most editions of the Communist Manifesto, on the very first page, there's a correction issued to those 12 points saying that were they to write it today, they would not include those or would at least heavily alter them based on the experience of the Paris Commune. And that was his slam dunk argument. And even if that were Karl Marx's personal definition of socialism, who gives a fuck? Who cares? Karl Marx was an economist. He wasn't a prophet. You're allowed to question him. His methodology was, he would be the first to tell you that as history changes, you should incorporate that into Marxian theory. The idea that his words are like holy writ that can't be questioned is so completely not materialist. It is the opposite of everything they claim to stand for. I love that, man. Where'd my shelf go? It went to the bedroom. I have other uses for the shelf. In the boudoir, where I keep a series of erotic ghoulie figurines. Who is saying he's a prophet? LOL. No, I don't think that Marxists believe that. I think that Caleb Maupin does, though. When he says that, so in the video he's talking about how oh, you claim to be socialist. Here's how Karl Marx defined socialism, which A, is not how Karl Marx defined socialism, and B, even if it was, it wouldn't matter. We can just disagree with Karl Marx. That's fine. To say that you are wrong because your definition is different than what I incorrectly think Marx's is, that is treating him like a prophet. Not simply liking Karl Marx or agreeing with his points of view, which I do. Thort Slurp, did you hide the ukulele so we would stop asking about it? It's in another room because everybody was asking so much about it. I've been practicing a lot on it lately. Oh, us working class want to get out of the slime? Never. I won't let it happen. I assume when anarchists or ANCOM say they're socialist, I'm assuming they're talking about anarchist socialism from Kropotkin. The term would typically be anarchist communist, not anarchist socialist. But that like an anarchist would argue that all anarchists are socialists to one degree or another, and that socialism is a necessary component of anarchism, as we view socialism. Hey Thoughts Song, I just wanted to say I have no homework tonight, so just hanging out and playing The Sims while listening to you draw. Oh no! What was the last part? Has been really fun and calming. Why do I have the urge now to scream very loudly? Thought that was a Transformers/Megazord behind Thought Slime? What? Where? Like a... I'm assuming you mean like a figurine and not like a literal Megazord. The plants? Again, these are my wife's plants. I know nothing of them. I occasionally water them. That is the extent of my relationship with these plants. What kind of plants are they? I don't know. Green? The one on top is a common domestic hibiscus. Probably. My favorite pejorative for cops? I don't know. Hey, just... You call them cops or you call them pigs. That's... My partner loves your wedding ring and wants one like it. What's it made of? It's not titanium. Hold on. I actually have to look this up. And the reason it's important that I get this right is because I did a lot of research to find like safe materials. So to look up the name of my jeweler. It's cobalt. But yeah, I would caution your partner. The one thing you have to keep in mind with cobalt, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it too well, it scratches very easily. So I've only been wearing this like a month, and it's already quite scratched up. Maybe it's hard to get it in focus. I don't know if you can see that, but... Can you get it re-shined or whatever you'd call it? Well, I wouldn't want to do that every month. The scratches do look cool. Yeah, it does give it like a rugged kind of feel, so I'm into that. I really like it. It's a good... Did I put it on the wrong hand? That felt really weird. Showed someone your new Bill Gates video and they said it really made them evaluate their change of position and the whole thing. I'm glad. Anyway, sorry, I'm a bit distracted. The reason I got cobalt, because originally it was going to be tungsten, but tungsten is, you can't cut it off in the event that they need, like there's something wrong with your finger and in the emergency room they need to cut it off. So that's why we went with cobalt. What about redstone? The problem with redstone is if you ever touch TNT, you're fucked. I recently watched Phantasm after checking out your video in the series and was actually kind of surprised that I couldn't really divine any meaning from it. It really is just a movie about guys being dudes and battling evil Jawas and the tall man. I don't know about that. It's the original, at least, is a story about a child in mourning. But why would you watch it at this time of year? It's a summer film. Does Mock really do cocaine and rock and roll? I don't know if they call it cocaine, because I think it's a gold powder in the movie, but it's clearly cocaine. Thoughts on the never-ending story? I don't want to comment on it until it's finished. Love all your videos. Friends too. Viva la revolution. You mean your friends all love my videos, or you love all of my friends? Scared to watch Suspiria? I wouldn't be scared to watch Suspiria. It is not a scary movie. Well, I forget. There are two Suspirias now. The remake is perhaps scary to some people. I'm a broken human being and can't be frightened by movies anymore. But I think it could be scary to people. The original is wonderful and one of my favorite movies. It's not going to scare anybody. Am I going to play Spider-Man Miles Morales? Not for fucking $70 to play a fucking DLC. Are you kidding me? A DLC that is the same game with less content. It's nuts. DLC is $70? I mean, they call it a sequel, but it's very much DLC. 90 in Canada. Holy shit. Are comic skaters fascist or just proto-fascist? I'd say it's a healthy mix of both. I would say that there are some who are proto-fascists. There's some genuine fashion. There's some people that are just being ding-dongs and are easily led around. But Spider-Man? Yeah, but it's like I already played the Spider-Man game where I could play Spider-Man. You know? Do I have any tattoos? No. What's Karl Marx's definition of a fascist? Is that in the list of 12 points too? If I'm not mistaken, fascism wasn't really a thing during Karl Marx's time. What games have the most sensible politics? Of course, the answer is Tonight We Riot. And I should say Disco Elysium, because if I don't, everybody's going to say, Matt, you got to play Disco Elysium. You got to play it. Lord Oculon a fascist? I don't know who he is, but whatever he is, mere words don't do him justice. And he's as far above us as we are above fascists. I'm playing Tonight We Riot right now, so you know what I'm talking about. I am not a cute. Am I allowed in anyway? We're not doing that tonight. You're cute. Live with it. Any insight into future Scaredy Cats topics? I think the next video I'm going to do is a somewhat passionate defense of the film Freddy vs. Jason, a film I think is unfairly maligned. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't usually have ideas for videos very far in advance. which is why sometimes on Scaredy Cats I'll just pick a series of movies and then review them all. So it's like, oh, I don't have to think about it for a little while. I thought you were hearing snores? Sorry, I'm using a fidget spinner. I can't help it. My mind is really scattered right now. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go back to drawing, to be honest. How do I maintain such a high turnover rate? 2 videos a week? There's a secret to it. What I do, and this is the thought slime difference, is that you just don't make the videos very good. And then you can turn them out real fast. Untitled Goose Game has the best politics. It's a little geese friendly, which I'm not, like, in real life, I don't think we should glorify geese. The Tim Pool technique. Exactly. It's where I learned it. You should talk about Candyman on Scaredy Cats. I can't. I can't. Because if I say his name 5 times, he's gonna come and get me. Have I done any Scaredy Cats content on horror anime? I don't know of any horror anime, to be honest. Aside from the shitty adaptation of... Oh my god, I can't remember anything tonight. The mangaka who's the really famous horror mangaka. He did Uzumaki. Junji Ito, yes. The Junji Ito collection, which is terrible, and like every horror YouTuber has already covered it. Which is not to say that Junji Ito is horrible. He's not. It's the manga, the anime adaptation, which is terrible. Go watch Ghost Story. I mean, as soon as I'm finished One Piece, I can move on to a new anime. And then, you know, I'm like 60 episodes in, and how much more could there be? You know. Is the Caleb Maupin thing dead, or will there be more videos? We'll see. Yeah, I figure One Piece is just about wrapped up, you know? I figure I'll give it, like, he just entered the Grand Line, so I figure we're like 10 episodes away from him getting that One Piece. I can't remember the name, but there was an anime where they go around as a group of ghost hunters. I think you're thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! Have I watched either of the Haunting of series? I watched Haunting of Hill House, and I liked it, but I haven't watched Blind Manor yet. But I will. Are geese Clash reductionists? Geese are just murderers. Is my opinion. Does Castlevania count? I watched season 1 of Castlevania, but it was really kind of boring. Non-sexist anime? Again, I must say Yu-Gi-Oh! I probably shouldn't say that. There's probably some fucked up stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh! That someone's going to send to me now. But, I don't know. I'm not a big anime person. I watch a few animes. Like, I really like Full Metal Alchemist. I almost said Full Metal Jacket Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But there's some stuff in that I think you could consider sexist. You know, there's some good women characters in it too. But like the character of Lust, for example, you know, that says something. Man, I kind of want to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood again. I only watched it like a couple of years ago. That was a real good show. Too bad about the English dub actor being a major creep. I didn't watch the English dub. I watched it with subtitles. Do I like Avatar? Yeah. I assume you mean Avatar The Last Airbender, not James Cameron's Avatar, which I don't like. Bubblegum Crisis 2040. Yeah, nothing sexist there. I just looked it up. Apparently someone made a 30-minute video on sexism in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm afraid to click it. Well, would you recommend Canada as a place to live for a left-leaning American? Love your content, by the way. I mean, it's probably easier to get to than other countries, so if you need to get out of the States, it might be a matter of convenience. I mean, you might not really have a choice, but I would say that Canada is only marginally better than the United States, and even that is temporary. And depending on who you are, like it can be worse in a lot of ways. Canada is absolutely more racist towards our First Nations population than the United States is to theirs. So, but I don't know. I haven't lived in the States, so I couldn't really do a good comparison. I mean, I live here and I seem to get by. JK, please don't come to Brazil. I mean, if I went to Brazil, it would be because psilocybin mushrooms are legal there. Any Studio Ghibli faves, Thoughts Line? Princess Mononoke, probably. The healthcare is nice, though. The healthcare is pretty sweet. Not gonna lie there. Opinions on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? My comrade recommended it, and I've just got sucked in. It's too much. I can't. Did psychedelics teach you things about yourself, thinking about taking the plunge? Well, I'm not going to encourage you to do that. I will say that if you do, please, have a trip sitter if it's your first time. Even if it's not, you should probably have one, but especially if it's your first time. And understand the importance of set and setting, which is to say, mindset. Make sure you're in a good place emotionally, mentally, and that you're in a place where you feel physically comfortable, around people that you trust unequivocally. As for did it teach me stuff about myself? Yeah. But nothing concrete, nothing that I could put into words, more about how I see things or how I view the world and how I consider things. Again, I don't know if I could give you an example because it's very difficult to describe. But not in the way that, like, I'm not talking about like the ineffable mystical experience that some people have on psychedelics, which I've never had. But just in terms of like how it changed the way I view the world, like forever. It's very difficult to explain. It's like there's a door in your head, and when you open it, you can't close it. And I like it, but it you know, if I didn't, it would be a problem. it's like you don't understand the power of imagination right now. Like, you might think that you do, but your imagination can do so much more than you think it can do. And that's something you learn under psychedelics that you cannot unlearn, for good or for ill. Psychedelics clean out my psychic cupboards. That's kind of how it feels, right? It feels like when you come down, it feels like everything is reset, and it's like you've organized your mind, you know? Like, yeah, it's like you did a good spring cleaning of your brain. So you're saying, do psychedelics? No, I'm not. I would, like, for one, it's against YouTube's terms of service. For another, and the real reason, is that I think people often make the decision to take psychedelics very cavalierly. They don't do the research, and they don't understand the potential that these substances have to really fuck someone up emotionally. Like, they're not dangerous physically. You're not in any danger of hurting your body, but you can hurt your fucking mind. And if you don't go into it with the right mindset, you will. So what's important is if you're determined to do it, and I think it's a wonderful experience that as many people who can should have, you have to approach it responsibly. You have to approach it respectfully, in my opinion, anyway. Salvia can give bad trips, though, right? Anything can. Salvia, as I understand it, gives exclusively bad trips, but anything can give bad trips, like up into including marijuana, if you smoke enough of it. Like, I've had some intense bad times on pot. But, like, I almost feel like the idea of a bad trip is unhelpful, because people don't have bad trips. People react badly during a trip, right? And if you believe that, oh, this is now a bad trip, I am having a bad trip, TMCR, then you don't come back. Like, you come back to your body and you stop tripping at some point, but you don't, the trip remains bad as long as you are committed to the idea that it is bad. Instead, you should think of it as challenging. It's a challenging trip. You're being challenged. And maybe you can learn something from that, you know? Do I like Terence McKenna? I quite do. Watch Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. It's one of the only decent things on Vice. I've watched a few episodes. I watched the one about psychedelic truffles like 10 years ago. They're not escape drugs is the thing. They amplify, so if you have good times, you'll get 10 times good. If it's bad, 10 times that. I mean, there's an element of randomness as well, right? Because you also can't predict how your mind will react to things, right? So you're very suggestible while you're tripping. And that's not to say that if someone says, like, hey, give me your wallet, you'll just hand it over. But it's more like if someone says, you don't look so good, you'll start to think, oh my God, I don't look so good. Am I getting sick? Oh no, what's happening to me? You know, you're suggestible in the sense of your mood is very easy to alter. What's the difference between dry and wet salvia? I've never heard of wet salvia. All I know is, like, I've only ever seen it as like little baggies full of leaves that you vape in a little thing and it gives you a real bad time. They sell it in corner stores here around me. I've never bought it because it seems like a nightmare. I will tell my son Bialik, who is now 13 years old, and his wife to be cautious next time they take them. I don't know if this is a reference to something. Have you considered doing a follow-up to your baby's first horror movie video? Like if someone watched and liked one of those movies, he suggested they should watch the other movie? I mean, I did do a follow-up this week, but I don't know if I would limit it in that way. But that's an idea. I'd kind of like just like recommending movies and saying like, hey, here's some ones you gotta see. There's a lot of unjust stigma around salvia because of the cringe videos. I mean, my view on salvia is largely informed by trip reports on Arrowwood, not on the videos. Salvia Eric notwithstanding. I've always enjoyed reading while tripping balls. I've never done that. Have I heard any trip reports on wet salvia? No. Would I count The Wire as propaganda? In some respects, I think it is very critical of the police as they exist, but I think it's clinging to the idea that the police could be reformed and that all that is required is to kind of root out the corruption and or maybe do some sort of regulation. In that sense, I think I don't know if it's so much propaganda because it does show a lot of problems with policing, but it is at least nominally sympathetic to police in the way that most people do not consider there to be an alternative to that. Most people wouldn't think there's like, well, of course there are police. There have to be police, you know? So in that sense, I suppose, in that, like, it's, you know, it's certainly not anti-police. Okay, now you reference internet comment etiquette. I am complete. Listen, motherfucker. I've been watching Salvia Eric since before there was an internet comment etiquette, okay? I was down with that fool when he was doing salvia videos. I watched when he was used as evidence to get salvia made illegal in California. Have I seen Blue Bloods? That show legit glorifies the corrupt cop. Tons of shows do. The Shield. For one. Law and Order. Law and Order is absolutely propaganda. Let's go to class years were dope. Internet comment etiquette is the only ice allowed to exist. Untitled title! That means that you're gonna make the polar ice caps melt! What are you doing? Thoughts on the Amazon series Hunters with Al Pacino? This is embarrassing for you, but his name isn't Al Pacino anymore. It's Dunkachino? What happens in The Shield? The Shield is a show about a group of drug cops who basically steal a bunch of money from criminals and commit a bunch of crimes to cover it up. And they're also like horribly brutal to the criminals. And they're supposed to be cool and likable. And then at the very last episode, they're like, oh, he had a bad ending, so we did it. We didn't glorify him. I'm like, no, not really. Is The Flash propaganda? Absolutely. It's full of fucking cops. Kevin O'Leary's the absolute worst. Oh my god, Kevin O'Leary. For those that don't know, Kevin O'Leary is basically Canada's Trump with a more sensible haircut. He's a judge on our version of the show Shark Tank, which we call Dragon's Den, because that's what it was originally called in the UK, where it started. And he calls himself, he insists that everybody calls him Mr. Wonderful. I've never heard anyone but him call him that. Star Wars is cop propaganda because Jedis are cops? Obviously. I've been saying this. Have I ever been to Cali? I've never been anywhere in the States. Holds up butterfly. Is this propaganda? Hot Fuzz gets a pass because they're corrupt as fuck and it's funny. I mean, the heroes aren't corrupt in Hot Fuzz. But Hot Fuzz is a good movie. What are you hiding under the beanie? I accidentally shaved my head. What is a problematic piece of media that you love nonetheless? I mean, all media is problematic. I love slasher movies. All cops are police. Thoughts on Brooklyn Nine-Nine? It's fine. It's just a very repetitive show. I don't know. Even if they weren't cops, it's like there's only so often I can be exposed to the man-baby protagonist marrying the hyper-competent lady shit. You know, it's just, come on. Is Arrested Development very problematic? Well, I would say season 3 certainly is. The whole Mr. F shit, that was pretty bad. Power Rangers isn't problematic? That's fine. Oh, it is. When you find out that the reason David Yost left Power Rangers is because he was being bullied for being gay. There you go. I ruined Power Rangers for you. Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. Jeffrey Tambor's in Arrested Development. Thought slime ruins everything. Allow me to further ruin Power Rangers. Bryan Cranston also doing the circuit for the Power Rangers remake in 2018. He did an interview with, I think, Letterman. I'm not sure. And they asked him if he liked the fact that David Yost's character, Billy Cranston, was named after him. And he said he didn't like it because they used the Fey one in his words. Fey one. And he made this gesture with his hand. The Fey one. Cool stuff, Bryan Cranston. Also, at least one ranger murdered a guy with a sword. That was in like one of the other seasons, though. Green Ranger is super into Jesus and karate. Jesus and MMA. And I'll have you know, Jesus didn't tap. Jason David Frank, the guy who played Tommy on Power Rangers, has a tattoo across his chest that says Jesus didn't tap because he's an MMA fighter. And that owns. Would you say that Spider-Man has done problematic things in the past? Yeah. He let the burglar go that killed Uncle Ben. He let Gwen Stacy die. Are paleontology videos too problematic? What? Why would paleontology videos be problematic? Spider-Man gave Mary Jane AIDS? No, but there was a comic where his radioactive sperm gave her ovarian cancer. In an alternate future. Thoughts on Schitt's Creek? So Schitt's Creek takes a lot of guff from people because they say that it humanizes the very rich. And I think the people that say that would do well to pay a closer eye to the show. Because in fact, what that show does is it says that the rich are fucked up ghoul people, and it's only by taking them out of that environment and putting them back into a normal environment that they become normal, healthy, functional people. What about the big bad Beetleborgs? Flabbers in the alt-right. Can't we just agree Schitt's Creek is just watered down Arrested Development? Schitt's Creek is so Canadian sitcoms follow a very different rhythm than American ones do, where they're not trying to make you laugh. They're just trying to be a little bit pleasant. And I think it succeeds at that. And it occasionally makes me laugh. It's very much like Corner Gas, in my opinion, where it's just the show that you turn on and it just doesn't bother you for 30 minutes. It's a show that you can watch and it'll leave you alone. The rural people in Schitt's Creek are ghouls as well? Not really. Like, there's a couple of characters that are weirdos, but mostly they're just normal people. And almost to a person, they're kind. I've never seen Letterkenny. Do I like Community? I do. Did I watch the new animated Corner Gas? No, I'm not a... I mean, I can watch Corner Gas, but I'm not a huge fan, you know? I don't seek it out. Who do I main in Smash? I don't have Smash. Thoughts on Borat and other SBC work? I don't know, Borat 2 wasn't as funny as I thought it would be, aside from getting Giuliani to jerk it on camera, which ruled. Have I ever seen Breaking Bad? I have, actually. That little indie show you might have heard of called Breaking Bad. I've also watched Better Call Saul, which I think is good. Not as good as Breaking Bad. Anyone who says that Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad does not remember how good Breaking Bad was. I thought you were playing Mario Paint. I was drawing for a while, but I just don't have the energy. TPB is great from the first Christmas episode until about season 6, then it gets too mixed up. What's TPB? Was this... I don't know what TPB is. Trailer Park Boys? What do I feel about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2? Big fan of Chop Top. The rest I can take or leave. Do I like a Godzilla? I like several Godzilla films. I especially like the Godzilla films of the 80s for their great puppetry. And my favorite of the Godzilla kaijus is Gigan, the one with hooks for hands and a buzzsaw on his tummy. It's the best kaiju. I think you mean King Ghidorah. What is this? What is this? You come to me with such basic ass takes and claim that I don't know what I'm talking about? First of all, King Ghidorah, or Ghidra if you prefer, certainly in more movies, no one can dispute that. More heads than Gigan, I will grant you this. Buzzsaw tummy? Only Gigan's got that. And before anyone says anything, I know that the official Toho pronunciation is King Ghidra, but that sounds terrible, so I say Ghidorah, as was always the case until about 10 years ago when they suddenly insisted it's Ghidra. Jet Jaguar? The problem with Jet Jaguar is that a friend of mine used Jet Jaguar as his screen name for a long time, so it's all I can think about when I see it. But he is, obviously pretty cool. Loses points for not being a Jaguar. Or a jet, for that matter. Thoughts on Shin Godzilla? I quite liked Shin Godzilla. I thought it was... And it's very relevant right now. Any chance of teaming up with ContraPoints? I have criticized ContraPoints' actions in the past, so I don't think she would be comfortable with that. And I also feel like my audience would not really appreciate that. People are very upset with her for a lot of good and also occasionally some bad reasons. I am not going to get into Contra discourse because it is exhausting and it ends with everybody mad at each other even though they agree on almost everything they're saying. I always heard Ghidra from fans back in the 90s. No, nobody said that. This is an implanted memory. Favorite Simpsons episode? Last Exit to Springfield, which is the one where the plant goes on strike. It is wall-to-wall bangers. Just, in my opinion, the funniest episode of that particular program. Not asking you to get into it, but is there a vid of contra criticisms on your channel? No. I said some stuff on Twitter that I thought was pretty even keeled. Marge versus the Monorail is pretty good. Treehouse of Horror episodes. Yeah, but that's like 3 episodes in one. It's not fair. The peyote episode is quite good as well. Thoughts on Vonnegut? Vonnegut is like my favorite writer. It would be my main thought. That Batman's a scientist joke is one of 2 times. I love how that's like a weirdly consistent theme in Homer Simpson's life. Because there's the other time when I forget what's happening. I think he's in like the top part of one of those trucks where they have the thing that goes up and down, and it's going into a lake. And he says, "I'm not normally a praying man, but if you're up there, please save me, Superman." And then there's also the time when in a recent episode that I just turned on one day, because I don't like to watch the new Simpsons, it's too much of a bummer. They say like, "Oh, your father is a pretty smart man," and Lisa says, "Dad doesn't even know that Bruce Wayne is Batman." And Homer says, "How could a billionaire playboy possibly have time to do the things Batman does when he's busy running the day-to-day operations of the Wayne Foundation?" And Lisa turns to him and says, "Why is Batman friends with Alfred, Dad?" Thoughts on the recent anime Godzilla, and have you seen someone's fan design of that universe's Gigan? I have not seen the new Godzilla anime. The one where I heard, because the premise is incredible. The idea that Godzilla has grown so much that he's basically a planet now, like, that's great. That's great stuff. But I've never watched it. I've heard it's quite boring. How much money until you go shirtless? More than you got, Polly. I'm not putting that screenshot on the internet. It's one of 2 jokes in a new Simpsons episodes that genuinely made me laugh. The other one being, it was an episode that took place in the future, and they get into a cab, and she's pregnant, she's about to give birth. And she's like, "You gotta get me to the hospital." And he says, "But the navigation computer's down." She's like, "I don't know, I'm about to give birth, you gotta go right now." And so he opens up the glove compartment, and he takes out a pair of driving gloves, and he says, "Looks like I'm gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. Gloves, drive to the hospital." And then the gloves come alive and start driving the car. I know this was about an hour ago, but as someone with a PID tattoo, I have to say that I love your reboot takes. Well, I got nothing but good reboot takes. Like, I fucking love reboot. So I still think back, one of my most formative, like, television moments as a child is when the character Matrix, he spent a whole season, he was nearly killed by Megabyte as a child, and believed that Megabyte had killed his hero, Bob. And he's sent out into the net and trying to make his way home. Halfway through the season, he gets home only to find out that Megabyte has essentially destroyed it. And he spent this entire season basically drifting into a deeper and deeper rage, waiting to catch him, to the point that it's giving him like post-traumatic stress disorder flashbacks at night. He wakes up like ready to kill. So he finally catches up with him, and they're fighting across this huge plain on top of the command center, which is the center of the town, and it's falling apart in this really dramatic moment. And just as like Megabyte's about to get him, his girlfriend throws him her trident, and he manages to just barely get the upper hand on him, and then he's got it positioned right over his neck, and Megabyte says to him, "What are you waiting for? Do it." And instead of killing him, he throws it away and he says, "Remember today. Remember the day I showed you mercy." And that to me was like, it was such like a complicated set of emotions to try to fit into a children's action show, of like this person trying to balance his justified anger at this monster without letting his humanity die, and still finding it within himself to have mercy for his enemies. And that's like, I know that's not like amazing stuff, but like, it's when you're 13, like that shit's deep. Like, I don't care who you are. And then Megabyte slides down he gets away, wriggles out, and he slides down the roof, and he's like, "No, you remember this day, boy. The day I seized victory from the jaws of defeat." And he gets grabbed by a monster and pulled into the web at the end. That's Reboot! Then they did a musical number, and it ruled. So Luke and Vader, it was like Luke and Vader, but the difference is that Megabyte isn't redeemed, right? So it's Matrix has to make that decision about someone who is still actively evil. He still has to find his humanity and his compassion for him, even though he has no redeeming qualities, you know? Luke saves Vader. Matrix saves Matrix is the difference. What do you call him Matrix and not Enzo? Because they're different characters. It's by this point in the series, there is a separate Enzo when actually shortly after this point, Mainframe is rebooted, and Enzo is brought back as a child. So now adult Enzo, who goes by the name Matrix, is living alongside child Enzo, is why I call him Matrix. Otherwise it would be too confusing. Is this a Thought Slime Reboot analysis channel now? Oh, how I wish. Oh, how I wish. Great, now we'll go rewatch Reboot and Cyber 6. Hell yeah! They were great shows! Ever see Wooly Liam's Reboot lore videos? I think so. Do I like Avatar: The Last Bender? I do! It's quite good. I loved everything about Hexadecimal's weird mask aesthetic. Yeah, boy did they fuck that up in season 4. She gets cured of being a virus at one point. Maybe that happens in season 3, actually. And it sucks. It sucks. But then she has a big hero moment at the end of season 4 where she has to become a virus again to defeat the daemon, the super virus. And that was cool as hell. There's a conspiracy that I'm Dennis Prager's son-in-law? I live in Canada. How could I be Dennis Prager's son-in-law? Surely I would have more money. Notice how he doesn't deny it? I henceforth deny any and all allegations that I am the son of, or the son-in-law of, or in any way related to, the fiend and scoundrel Dennis Prager. Clearly that's part of the conspiracy. He's taking away all the money because you went leftist. Why wouldn't he just get both sides, right? He would use Prager University to get the conservative money, and he would get Thought Slime to make the leftist the money. Yes, I disavow Dennis Prager. And Dennis Prager, just stand back and stand by. That sounds like something Dennis Prager's son-in-law would say. No, something Dennis Prager's son-in-law would say is, yum, 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 I love to eat shit. I painted skeleton on my wall. Any recommendations for what I should do next? You should paint a person who the skeleton is pulling the hair of, and he's pulling it up, but not out. He's pulling the hair up, but not out. Because the bones are their money. Oh, Skeletor. That's much different. Because he'd be like, yeah! Is there any voice that is more fun to do than Skeletor's? It's basically the two voices anyone on Earth can do is Skeletor and Jordan Peterson. Alex Jones voice? Yeah, that hurts your throat to do. Christopher Walken's voice is fun to do. I feel like people speak in Christopher Walken's cadence more so than his voice. You know, they do. The pause. They don't really like speak like him. Jordan Peterson sounds a bit like air being let out of a balloon slowly. Do a Gilbert Gottfried? Oh, how I wish I could do Gilbert Gottfried. Magic Brian? Magic Brian, he, if I recall, he's like, oh, hello, it's me, Magic Brian. Hello. Like that. I'm from Holland, isn't that weird? I've always said if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. You know? I've always said that. Did you hear about the Shark Boy and Lava Girl sequel? I am too old for such things. I'm sorry, I'm 35. I don't know what Shark Boy or Lava Girl are. Have fun with it though. I hope you love it. Matt, I just got Animal Crossing. I named my island Fluffy Town. What should I do next? You should play Animal Crossing. It's the next logical step. After buying Animal Crossing, that's what you do. Reboot is on Amazon Prime? What the fuck? Are you serious? I know what I'm going to be doing after this stream. How can I not know Shark Boy and Lava Girl? Because I was already an adult when the first one came out, so I didn't see it. Have I ever dealt with a problematic parasocial relationship? Which way do you mean? Like someone having one with me or me having one with someone else? I would say I've definitely dealt with both. Like I've definitely been attached to people parasocially that in unhealthy respects, and definitely people have been to me as well. I don't want to put anyone on blast here, but people will just be really forward with you in a way, and I've learned to just not even express when it makes me uncomfortable, because it has a profound negative impact on people when people who just don't know better, even if they should know better but they don't, they will say like weird sex stuff to you, and then if you say to them like, hey, don't do that, that's not cool, like it makes people apoplectic. Like it's just, it's like a no-win scenario. And I also get people that are like, I get a lot of people who are like, you're like such a good person, you know, how the fuck do you know? Like, don't assume I am a good person because I make YouTube videos that you like. You have no idea, right? Like, I could be a complete monster in real life for all you know. Love you, but like a communist love, not a creepy love. I am not afraid of communism, and I never will be. I am married to Thought Slime now, not parasocial. Totally normal and real. Unless you are my wife in one of her many throwaway accounts, which a truly surprising amount of people in chat end up being my wife. Not joking, by the way. She has many throwaway accounts that she'll use in chat sometimes. I am wife. That is something she would say. My wife's name, of course, is Spartacus. Would you give a comrade a socialist fraternal kiss? No, I wouldn't. Does my wife like my videos? Depends on the video, to be honest. She likes some of them, for sure. Others, not so much. Will Senpai notice me? If Senpai is me, I will notice you. You have a green arrow avatar. You've been noticed. Did the Maniac Cop analysis put her off? I can guarantee with a high degree of likelihood she did not watch my review of the Maniac Cop series of feature films. Do I love my wife? Indeed I do. Do I have a cold? No, why? Do I sound like I have a cold? What's my favorite video of mine? It feels weird to call it my favorite, but the Turner Diary videos I think is my best. I would say the one that like I would rewatch the most might be the Scaredy Cats video about cringy horror music videos. That was content made exclusively for me. Cold is code for cult. Boy, that's a hard sentence to say. Cold is code for cult. Code is cold. Cold is code for cult. Boy, wow, I just found a new vocal warm-up. My eyes are all red and squinty. They're always like that. I got to use the Maniac Cop, more like regular cop joke last week, and it killed. I still like the Maniac Cop is a series of films about what if a cop was slightly less violent. A joke I've gotten to use in 2 videos now because my job rules. Cold is co-ed for cold. Ah, of course. I really like your Tim Pool vid. Yeah, the problem with that one is I left. I did a bad edit at one point where I left in a large part that I didn't mean to leave in of Tim Pool's video. Other than that, I like that too. That was the video. That was just me going off the deep end because I don't even remember how I got on the subject of that video. I think I just said I want to make fun of Tim Pool this week, and I picked a video at random and went down a rabbit hole. I can't stop saying Burger King because of you. When can I expect my mental anguish checks? Real workers are trying to get out of the burger, you know? I don't know. I don't even know about that one. Although in Red Sun, Batman was a reactionary terrorist. No, he wasn't. Red Sun was... Red Sun was correct to do what he did. Superman is Batman's boyfriend. Like... Okay. Who else would it be? I always have a problem where if my favorite video isn't my last one I made, I'm like, fuck. I feel like that's something, like the thing is I put out a video every week, right? So there's a certain amount. Robin is his son. That's gross. But like if I put the pressure on myself to make my new best video every single week, I think I would truly go mad. I would truly lose it if I had to do that. Robin is married? Is he? First of all, which Robin? Presumably Dick. And to whom? Barbara? I'm on a first name basis with all of the Bat family. You're a guy to return to. I'm like bad H-bomb or ST. What? I'm a guy to return to? I'm not sure what you mean. And you're not like a bad... Joel, you're like one of the funniest people on YouTube. What are you talking about? Get out of here. What do you mean I'm like a bad H-bomb? You have such a distinct style of video. And to you, you don't see it because it's probably just your sense of humor. But like... your videos are done in a way that literally no one else could possibly do them. Julian Korzeniowski, Catwoman Yoko Ono. What? Joel's dog is adorable and on camera. Well, H-Bomb has a skull friend. And that one video where he talked about JonTron, he had a little bird. Love your videos. What's your favorite novel? I would say Breakfast of Champions is my favorite novel by Kurt Vonnegut. It's great. It's a big influence on me in the way I see the world. You're like a cozy presence, a comforting guy to pack you something. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. I do not owe Big Joel money. I paid my money to Big Joel. I paid up. I I honorably did my part, paid my debt, as I do. Breakfast of Champions to me, like, the idea that all things in the world are of equal importance, that, like, all events are cosmically of exactly equal significance, is such a bizarre conceit to hang a novel around. But boy, did that get the old noodle going when I read that one. Let me tell you, that had some effects on the old noodle. The noodle? I like that. Do I get the money if the coup succeeds? Presumably, if the coup succeeds, I don't need the money. Big Joel, shouldn't he be in jail? No jail can hold him is the problem. As the world's greatest criminal, he goes around pulling major pranks, leaving a series of clues to confound the finest minds at Scotland Yard. But he will never be caught. Big Joel is Joel Osteen's son-in-law.
What do you think of Hot Pockets? What is your favorite Hot Pocket filling? What are your Hot Pocket temperature preferences? If you could design a Hot Pocket,
Okay.
what would your Hot Pocket be?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Novel's opinions are also welcome if you don't like Hot Pockets.
Now, the thing is, the company Gardein, which is a vegan frozen food company, used to make a pulled pork pizza pocket. And they don't make it anymore, and that was the best pizza pocket, and it is the answer to all those questions. I read Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader because of you, and it's very similar to Breakfast of Champions in that way. See, I disagree. I think that Breakfast of Champions presents it as a kind of like a not actually nihilist, but when people use the word nihilist, what they mean, like nothing matters type of way. It's a very cynical outlook that ultimately is like, also the fact that nothing matters itself does not matter, and you invest the world with your own meaning, yes. But to me, I always read the scene of Batman saving Clayface in Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader. For those that don't know, it's a comic. I briefly touched on this in my video about Batman, where it's a future funeral for Batman, and all of the villains are giving eulogies. In Clayface's, he tells the story of how Batman died, and Batman died trying to save Clayface, and Clayface says, "Don't, I'm not worth it," and Batman's last words are, "Everyone's worth it," which I took to mean that all people are deserving of life. All people can be redeemed. There's hope for anyone. Which I would say it's more like Christianity than anything. I certainly didn't read it as like all lives are of equal significance. I read it more so as everyone deserves to be alive, and given the opportunity, the heroic thing to do in any situation is that which preserves anyone's life. That's how I read that scene. Who's my favorite Batman villain? That's a good question. That is a good... I'm not sure. Why is this such a difficult question for me? I like Scarecrow quite a bit. I would say maybe Scarecrow, but there's no good comics with Scarecrow. Scarecrow never does anything interesting in the comics. It's a weird thing. No writer wants to take on Scarecrow. I don't know why. Because it seems like such a slam dunk. Like if you think of any character was going to be overused, that would be the one, right? Like there's just so many directions you can take that. Scarecrow is in Long Halloween. The Long Halloween isn't about Scarecrow. He plays a perfunctory role. He's in many comics. How about Batman Beyond? My favorite villain in Batman Beyond is Ink. No question about that. For me, it's Clayface just because of the Batman the Animated Series episode. That's the best animation in the whole series, easily. And it is a sad story. Just a guy trying to stay relevant as an actor and then loses his humanity. It kind of that episode loses its impact when you see Clayface in future episodes and he's just a burglar. But that first episode is very sad. The Arkham games, yes, they did do Scarecrow quite well. That's true. The Arkham games did every character really well except Batman, in my opinion. Favorite superhero, supervillain name? Easily Buona Beast. Or Matter Eater Lad. Or Herbie Popnecker. What do you recommend to get into the superhero universe if you were never into it before? Probably don't. If you're not yet into it, I can't see anyone, like, having never been exposed to any of this shit, picking it up and starting to enjoy it. I just can't imagine anyone doing that. I don't. Thoughts on the Gotham TV show? Gotham is the best live-action adaptation of Batman. And I will stand by that. It nails what Batman comics should be, in my opinion. If you were in a comic, would you be in a hero or a villain? Obviously, I think I would be the hero. Everyone, all bad guys think they're the good guy. Except for the Joker, but he's twisted. And that says a lot about society. Thoughts on the work of Friedrich Nietzsche? Not very familiar with Nietzsche, to be honest. I know that doesn't normally stop people from forming an opinion, but it will stop me. A zillion years ago, DC had a superhero group called Metal Men. It was hilariously bad. That's where you and I are going to have to agree to disagree. The Metal Men are great. They're all made of different kinds of metal. Their personalities are reflected in the type of metal that they are. It's great stuff. I refuse to learn how to pronounce Nietzsche. I don't care. I will never pronounce it right. I will never give in to pedants who pretend like they don't know what I'm referring to. Best DC meta crisis is Identity Crisis? Ooh, it has not aged well. Don't know when was the last time you read Identity Crisis, when Deathstroke defeats the Flash by putting a sword in front of him so that he'll run into it. It's like... So just nobody's ever thought to, like, clothesline the Flash before? Playing any good games? I'm actually playing No Man's Sky right now. That's quite good. I'm having a great time with that. Freddie Nichols, the sad German guy. I do love Freddie Nichols. No, I don't. I just talked about how I don't. That Slime is the villain who's absolutely 100% correct. The instant you think about it for like 3 minutes. So I'm either Killmonger or Zahir. Then. Have I ever played a video game from the video game series Assassin's Creed? I have played a video game from the video game series Assassin's Creed. The video game that I played from the video game Assassin's Creed was Assassin's Creed 2 the video game. Which superhero villain do you think has the best backstory? I'm thinking Magneto, I would say, probably. If you're Zahir, who's your guru? Oh, hold on. Who's your guru? Lagima? Lagima my nuts! Got him. Got him. What I like about Magneto is that a fidget spinner. Yeah, I'm just really pent up. Is that the idea of first of all, he's kind of right in a lot of ways, but the idea of a minority being driven to hatred for understandable reasons, who nonetheless is he more so represents a danger to the hero philosophically rather than physically, even though he is physically very imposing as well. I like that about him. That's my hot take on Magneto from the comic book X-Man, The Adventures of the Man Who's an X. If I could choose any superpower, which one would I choose? I'd go CCCP. I don't know what CCCP is, but I would go with telekinesis. I've thought about this quite a bit. Telekinesis, I believe, is the correct answer. You can do so many things with telekinesis. You can fly with telekinesis, simply lift yourself with your telekinesis. If you have super strength, simply use your telekinesis to lift things that you couldn't lift normally. You can change your appearance by using telekinesis to manipulate light. There's so many things you can do with telekinesis. And if anyone questions the wisdom of my choice, I can simply smush their brain with my telekinesis and kill them instantly. Thoughts on Particle Man? It's not. I prefer Triangle Man. I don't know how the song goes. I think using telekinesis on light is a generous definition of telekinesis. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought telekinesis was the ability to affect matter with your mind. Is not light matter? Light is made of photons? Yeah. Pretty sure it's not exactly matter. It's they got mass. Exactly. They're matter. Move them around with light. It's fine. With telekinesis, I mean. See, if I had telekinesis, it wouldn't matter if the light had mass or not. I could simply attach mass to each photon with telekinesis, thereby making it have mass, turning it into matter, and then manipulating it. It's just that easy. Even a child could understand how easy it is. Photons are massless. Anything that moves at the speed of light can't have mass. Obviously, if there's superpowers in the mix, that's not true. The Flash moves at the speed of light. He's got mass. Starship Enterprise moves at the speed of light. Sometimes in a couple episodes. No, in every episode it moves past the speed of light. Warp speed is faster than light. For some reason, for a moment there, I was like, no, warp 10 is the speed of light. But no, it's warp 10 is 10 times the speed of light. Or infinitely fast. It depends on who's writing it. And I know technically something moving at warp speed isn't moving quickly, it's distorting space-time, but come on. Be cool. Your telekinesis sounds more like reality warping. What else is telekinesis? Y'all are just mad that you didn't think of telekinesis. You don't understand how to use it as well as I do. What about the power of plant control? Again, telekinesis gives me perfect plant control. Anything I need a plant to do, I can make it do with telekinesis. I could bring the dead back to life with telekinesis. Matt, can you use your telekinesis to alter my brain chemistry and make me not depressed? If I had telekinesis, I could, yes. Unfortunately, I don't, and I'm very sorry to hear that. But if I had telekinesis, I could and would do that, which is why you should be on my side. You should be with me on this, because if I get telekinesis, and God willing I will use it to cure your depression. Okay, what will you do when you lose control and turn into dark slime? The thing is, I would simply regain control with telekinesis. I would use telekinesis to grasp control and pull it back to myself. It covers everything. Control over time would be pretty sweet. Well, here's the thing about telekinesis. You simply use your telekinesis to go faster than light, thereby traveling backwards in time. Yeah, but you see, telekinesis is a concentration spell. So you get hit once and you gotta use another spell slot. Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Except nothing can hit me because I'm using telekinesis to have an invincible force field. Obviously. Telekinesis could solve all of my problems. That's not how time light speed works? Oh, I'm sorry. Have you exceeded the speed of light? Because otherwise, how would you know? What if someone's power was to be immune to telekinesis? Well, I guess that's it then. That's it. There's nothing I can do against someone who's immune to telekinesis. Or another thing I might try is use the telekinesis to pull a gun to me so I can simply shoot that person. They try to shoot me back? Uh-oh! Force field! Shouldn't you ask for consent from everything you use telekinesis on beforehand? Checkmate. The thing is, though, I would simply only use matter that consented. It's obvious. It's the best superpower. Well, what am I gonna age to death? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna rearrange the molecules in my body to their youngest state. I'm a perfect immortal fetus forever. What if none of them consent? I will simply use telekinesis to travel the multiverse and find a universe in which they do. Bring it back, that matter here. What if someone else had telekinesis? Yeah, okay, yeah. Someone else has telekinesis. I guess that's all I can do. Unless, of course, obviously, I use my telekinesis to remove their telekinesis. Boom. Look, what are they gonna do? They put up a force field? They put up a force field? Okay, I'm not gonna move the force field actually. I'm gonna move the matter inside the force field. Boom, I crunched your brain, you're dead. You're dead. That's all you got. Oh, but Matt, surely then, someone else with telekinesis would just kill you. Nice try. Thought of that. Obviously, I'm going to have every atom in my body protected by its own individual invincible force field. And simultaneously, I will be using telekinesis to maintain my body so that it cannot be altered by someone else's telekinesis. It's just that easy. It seems like a pretty quick way to incinerate the entire planet with the waste heat created by telekinesis. Yeah, well, yeah, it's because you can't use telekinesis to vortex the heat and safely vent it into outer space. It's day one. It's the worst superpower, the inability to use telekinesis. Sounds like a lot of voluntary concentration. Perhaps for you, it would be. But for me, at this point, I'm pulling in so much matter into my brain and reforming all of my neurons to become more powerful so that I can maintain all of this, that it is as simple as breathing to me. At the end of this process, the entire universe will simply be matter in my mind. I will have pulled everything into one enormous neural network of perfect telekinesis. That's obviously what I would do. Wouldn't being so telekinetically OP just become boring? You can telekinesis boredom out of existence. I would simply watch Reboot on Amazon Prime. Friendship with One Punch Man ended, now Telekinesis Slime is the best hero. The thing is I could easily withstand the punch of One Punch Man. Easily. With telekinesis, I mean. Alright. And on that note, I think that's going to do it for tonight. I went a bit longer than I normally do. Let's see who's online that I might raid. Alright, I'm gonna raid Izzy Bear. I don't know if she's still doing this, but for a while she was doing a thing where she wasn't shaving for the month of November to raise money for Camp Unicorn, I think it's called, which is pretty cool. She's playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, and you can go watch that. And that'll be a fun time for everybody, except me, because I'm going to bed. Well, actually, I'm rendering a video, uploading it, making a thumbnail, then going to bed. But have a good night, everybody. This is fun. I had fun. I had fun tonight on the internet. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow.